Hello YouTube, this is Gaming Dragon 360 and we are starting our Rome Total War Imperial Campaign walkthrough with the House of Julii. Let's get into it.
Gods. I hate Gauls. My grandfather hated them too, even before they put out his eyes. Did you think I'd be out here on the frontier without good reason? Yes, Rome needs a strong frontier. No, Rome doesn't need unwashed barbarians at her gates. So, that's why I'm here, the leader of the Julii, to bring Roman order to stinking Gauls. Revenge? That'd be good too. This war against the Gauls won't last long. And when it's done, I've got plans. This is all about power. Power in Rome. Going down that road means dealing with all my rivals. The Senate, the Greeks, those Carthaginian elephant riders, the Scipii and the Brutii families too. After all, the man who controls Rome rules the world. And one day, I will be emperor.
So I skipped the part where we were going to read the description for the campaigns. Nothing we ought to read anyway. So we are starting in 270 BC. That's around 100 years before the time of Julius Caesar. And the reason I mentioned Julius Caesar, let's take this city. Without, I don't think I should face any resistance here. So the only reason I mentioned Julius Caesar here is that because you probably know this guy. This is the person responsible for probably half of what you know about Roman history. His exploits in Gaul and Spain, and later on his involvement in the first Roman civil war of his time, concerning the emergence of Rome as an empire. Although he did not technically term himself as an emperor, but for all matters of purposes, he was one. So his exploits are very relevant to this game because we're playing as the faction to which, the family to which Julius Caesar belonged. Let's see, stables, practice range, trader. Start with paved roads. Barracks. So we're playing as the faction to which Caesar belonged, the Julii faction. Instead of focusing on the exploits of one man, we'll be doing it as a family or as a political group to which Julius Caesar belonged. So we will be recreating most of what Caesar did in the earlier parts of the game, taking over Gaul, that is modern day France, Spain, and by Spain, of course, I mean what is modern day Spain and Portugal, both the Iberian Peninsula. And of course, there is then the other factions. There are the other factions that I need to take care of later on in the game. The Scipii and the Brutii families. Now, these two families are also important in that they play a pivotal role, not only in the game, but also in the actual history of the Romans. These families have their own legendary figures associated with them. You probably know of Scipio Africanus. The Scipii are allies for now. Scipio Africanus was the Roman general who defeated Hannibal Barca at last. And of course, Hannibal Barca then committed suicide to avoid being captured. The Brutii faction, you probably know of one person from this faction, Marcus Brutus, the guy who literally stabbed Julius Caesar. He was an adopted son of Julius Caesar, but he plotted against him, stabbed him to death. And that's where we get the famous epithet from "You too, Brutus." So it was in reference to Brutus stabbing Julius Caesar, the famous celebrated Julii leader in the Senate. It was a plot against him. Diplomacy is going to be our biggest tool for now. Let's see. Okay. Now we can go to the Greeks. So the Carthaginians are here in North Africa. This is probably Carthage. Yes. The Carthage was a rival city to the Romans, rival in glory and splendor. You don't hear much about it because it was eventually destroyed by the Romans, but it was a city of parallel strength and beauty. And you obviously know that the Carthaginians are here in the Iberian Peninsula as well, and in Sicily. Now this is not a mistake. This was exactly how the Carthaginians were at the time. They had dominions in North Africa, in Sicily. Of course, the Sicilian domains were taken by the Romans during the first Punic Wars. The Punic Wars were a series of wars fought between the Romans and the Carthaginians. Hannibal Barca, the most famous Carthaginian general, probably the only one that most people know of, was part of the Second Punic War. That is the war between the Romans and the Carthaginians. So in this game, the Carthaginians are not going to be of much concern to us because the Scipii, as I mentioned earlier on, Scipii Africanus's rivalry to Hannibal Barca, the Scipii are going to take the Carthaginians, so we won't have to deal with them. And let's construct paved roads first. Economy is our major concern for the moment. We have a sizable Gallic force here. No mercenaries to recruit, so I think it's best for us to take out the Gauls, the field armies here. Let's see just what kind of a force do they have? Cavalry with warbands. Warbands are more numerous than our hostility units, but they have a poor hit point and attack capability. Let's take it now. Fight the battle on the map. I think we can win this one. This is our first field battle against the Gauls. Now, the Gauls are naturally our major target because we are situated, geographically speaking, at the what would be the highway into Gallic territories. I think I ought to put some of my troops in there for ambush. My archers can move forward here. Flames, Astarte forming a second line. Town Watch Astarte forming a second line. Town Watch forming the first melee infantry line. General in the center. Standard formation. And we have these triorii here. Let's place them like this and keep them hidden. So the triorii are hidden out of enemy sight, so if they attack, if they rush at us with their cavalry, we'll send triorii forward and start the battle.
The enemy have brought up more men.
There. Nothing changes though. They're going to bring in more men from up there, up north. Let me send my town watch here. I don't think we will be able to ambush them now, but we can still use the triorii spearmen. I'll bring my general forward quickly because if there is a cavalry charge from the enemy's side, I don't want to be caught off guard. I'll have my general's cavalry in place so that their light cavalry can be repelled easily. Okay, that's far enough. Attack. I want them to rush into formation. General. Cavalry versus cavalry. Archers retreating as predicted, and my heavy cavalry troops are going to do a number on these light cavalry. Perfect. Perfect.
The enemy great gods be praised! The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts!
Now I want my general's bodyguard to retreat. The second unit of the enemies, the second contingent is coming up there. I want the Triori faced like this, so that if there is a cavalry charge, we can do something about it. We have town watch spread out like this. Two of our Hastati unit like this. The other two Hastati unit behind this wall of spears. General in the middle. Bringing in their forces from there. I can't see them right now, but I think there are a couple of cavalry units there. As far as I remember, they've got a couple of war bands and skirmishers best. So nothing that we can't take care of. Their general is back, but they have lost their actual leader. It's the general's bodyguard unit that's back, and that's technically light cavalry. So more like a captain, not a general. So the warband is taking a beating from us, standing still. Let's just keep them engaged like this. And we can send our archer unit here. General to go charging in without this cover from the infantry. Now you'll see that the Hastati infantry, that's the technical, that's the baseline infantry unit that the Romans have at this point. The town watch are simply what you would call cannon fodder at this stage. They're coming here. Forwards. So the Hastati throw a spear-like projectile called the pile. The pile is the plural, pila would be the singular, were projectiles meant to be thrown before the charge. What they would do is they would demoralize the enemy this way, and if the enemy takes the hit, they cannot throw the pila back because the pila are non-reusable. Move forward, attack them. Move forward, attack them. It's pretty much a massacre from here on out. Town Watch and Hastati charging down this unit. They're going to do absolute devastation on the enemy. I want my archers to be firing their missiles at these troops instead. My general is taking care of the routing units. The archers are behind the main line, but I want them a bit closer to my other infantry troops. To break and protect the archers. And the archers are going to strike the cavalry. Here. They're sending a single unit of warbands towards my general. I will not fall for the trap though. Even though my general's bodyguard can take out these warband units, I will not risk that because the warbands are spear troops, and it would be almost suicide for me to go charging with my cavalry in front of a unit like this. Instead, I'll retreat behind the safety of my spearmen here. Oh god, this unit has gone too far. Now it's surrounded on two sides. I want my Triori to move forward and take out these warband units here. General's bodyguards moving here. take out the enemy's general bodyguard. And I think we've won the battle. It's not immediately apparent right now. It just speeds up a bit.
The gods have filled the heart. The gods
Continue
be praised.
the battle, and
The enemy's hearts are full of
I want to
fear,
kill the
now they
general.
flee.
just want to kill the general if at all possible. No, he managed to escape. And there is one more unit behind me. Here. Just kill as many as I can, and that's it. We have destroyed 2 of their field forces in the region. The numbers were almost evenly matched, but the Roman troop composition was better. As I mentioned, the warbands may be more numerous, but morale-wise and hit points-wise, our Hastati units are better. Now we can lay siege to Mediolanium first.
Engage the enemy.
I'll send a second army for Patavium. So let me just reform the troops a bit.
Sir! Sir! General!
Okay. That's perfect.
Imperator!
The next turn we'll have some peasants here. We can reorganize, regroup our forces then.
Orders!
If I attack this force here,
Orders! Engage the enemy!
that is going to draw out the garrison from the city. Perfect. Now that, why I did this? I did this because siege battles are more costly than field battles. In the field, you can easily decimate your enemy with the correct maneuvers. And of course, with the help of this very impressive General's Bodyguard cavalry troop. That's not how
enemy
it
have brought
works
up
in
reinforcements in a pathetic
a...
attempt to save themselves.
I will just send my Triorii and Hastati forward and take out this one. Count watch as well. Instead, we prepare for the second force coming from the south. Here. No need to ambush them. Just make a line here. And the general is fine where he is. In fact, I actually need the general perhaps. Maybe. This is a barbarian warlord. Warlord is pretty much the same as a feudal lord or a subordinate to the king or a prince. It's pretty much the same thing. It's a difference of terminology. I've never understood why the historians, some older historians that do that, I mean, very much makes absolutely no sense at all. Calling this guy a warlord, and if it were a Roman, you'd call them a feudal lord. I mean, makes no difference. I think I can do a little cavalry attack and retreat, drawing them towards my forces. Archers
The enemy
go
general
and
is slain, and
take
now his
out-
men fear us. It is time to press the attack.
okay, they're slaying one of their generals.
The
And-
gods be praised. The enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
Let them join our ranks here immediately. Okay, so they have a cavalry unit there. Let me just take out that cavalry unit. I think they're retreating. It's a smart move. The only move that makes any sense. But I'm certain, almost certain that they're retreating. Yes, they are retreating. Now will be the time for us to kill as many as we can. Retreat. Don't engage. Don't engage. Don't engage. Charge when they're retreating. Let's do a little bit of damage, as much as we can. these units, they are losing their lives for a battle that they did not even fight. The one thing I like about Rome Total War and not about Medieval 2 Total War, something I've noticed here, is that the armies in Rome Total War actually do retreat when it makes no sense to fight a battle. I mean, if this were Medieval 2 Total War and let's say the Gauls were the French and I were the English and they had no chance of defeating me, they would not retreat. They would just fight and lose their soldiers instead of regrouping later on and attacking me when it's possible.
This is a heroic victory,
Perfect.
worthy of Roman arms.
So I took out one of their family members. He won't be leading any major armies later on. And yeah. Now I have the city under siege as well. I mean, I will have.
General, engage the enemy. Besieging
Build
settlements, sir.
rams. I think one turn is more than
Settlement
enough
under
for this.
siege, sir. Sir.
There was a rebel army here. I don't see one at the moment.
Forward. Orders.
Now we move with our second army
Prepare
up
for
north.
battle. Moves depleted, sir.
Let's see if we can construct barracks. We need some military buildings for now. Economy is a major concern, I understand, but the military requirements must be satisfied. Shrine to Jupiter, public happiness, law, happiness, population growth. I think Shrine to Jupiter is perfect. Construction, port. Going in a fiscal loss here. Let's see. Settlement details. So income is the salaries of generals, the armies, of course, public order due to squalor. Okay. Okay, we can reverse these losses in a couple of turns. Won't be a problem then. I do need sizable forces at the moment because I have to sweep over the Gauls and not just attack them and take one city or two. Sweep over them here in Italy, and then we're going to cross the Alpines into the Gallic lands here. The only problem is I don't have any map information on the Gauls, so I think I'll have to send someone to scout the area, perhaps a diplomat. And while we're at it, we can go and forge some
Fleet ready.
we can have some agreements with the Spaniards and so on. Why not send this one?
Set
There is a
sail.
French town
No
of
more
Marseille
moves,
somewhere
sir.
here in real life, but let's see what we have here in this game. So just no, since we are sending a diplomat there, we don't need to recruit these here. Let's recruit what we need. Astarte.
Imperator.
Enter. So the first couple of episodes on this walkthrough,
Sir.
we will have to contend with some economic problems, but these will soon dissipate as we take
Moves
on
depleted, sir.
greater armies. I think we can automatically resolve this battle. That's perfectly fine. Sending this unit to
Onward.
join the main army up north.
Sir. Onward.
Okay, retreat.
Retreat. No more moves, sir. General.
Let's see. The fiscal loss is increasing here. I think we can improve the taxation now. Yes. Public order is not all too good. So we will need to maintain this loss for some time. Let me look at the financial stuff. Farming, mining, zero income, trade, taxes, wages, army, upkeep. So this is the main expense that we have. We need to improve our earning through farming and the other sources. Once this barracks is complete, we'll start working on the financials.
Sir! Sir! Engage
Let's
the
attack.
enemy!
We can do this in the field. First Gallic town to be taken. Now, the Gauls fought very fiercely against the Romans for centuries, technically. But in one sweeping move, Julius Caesar was able to inflict upon them what you would technically call a century's worth of damage. I mean, he was unable to undo all of that, defenses and everything that the Gauls had been able to put forward so far. He did face resistance there. Okay, so the doors are already down. Well, we can make 2 more cracks inside the walls while we send our archers forward to attack them. So Julius Caesar did face resistance, and that resistance was in the form of Vercingetorix. Vercingetorix was a Gallic commander who resisted the Roman invasion of Gaul to as much as he could, but of course he too was eventually unsuccessful in this regard. Sending my missile troops forward, the archers. I won't be able to recruit archers for some time in the game, so these archers are like very precious troops in this game right now. Cemetery there as well to defend the archers in case these warbands try to launch a sortie outside the city wall, although it would be very unwise of them to do so. So I can't really have more archers for now in the game, but I only need them just a bit for what I'm doing right now, just to harass the enemy to the point that when my Astarte attack, they are demoralized and
now they must batter
rout
way through.
easily, quickly. You see most of the arrows are bouncing back from the city walls, but as soon as they retreat from the walls, we have a clearer shot, a clearer projectile, like this. Excellent. Excellent. It definitely must have taken a lot of skill for one to be an archer back in those days. Let me just send this one study over here. Archers retreat.
Our soldiers have captured the walls!
Priorii
now
forward.
is the time to press on and capture this
Astarte
place!
forward. General's bodyguard moving in with caution. They're going to defend the city center. It's not going to do them much good. We're going to move in here and butcher them one by one.
Roman military engineering triumphs once more! The walls are down!
Let's
Order
take
your men
out
on
this
to victory!
first unit. Perfectly done. Okay, inside the walls. Inside the walls. Perfect. General's bodyguard moving inside the wall as well. Surround this unit here and force them to retreat. General's bodyguard taking the rear position so when they retreat we can butcher them. Excellent. Now I want my Astarte forward in this position here. Priorii as well. Whereas my general is going to take care of these retreating warband units. go and take out as many of them as possible. Archers, stop firing. Disable fire global. Don't need to attack these friendly archers anymore. Now I will bring my archers here. Let's start the unit present here. Let me just speed it up a bit. Downwatch present here. Speed it up a bit. We have our archer units coming in quick. Now we can start showering them with arrows. If they attack, we have our entire column to defend against them. Perfect. They're going to do a bit of back and forth here. It's the AI, of course. It would make more sense for them to either hold their ground or attack all at once to do as much damage as they can. But we are going to do as much damage as we can to them. There's cavalry unit as well. So as soon as they go back to the city center, they regain their morale. So they're no longer routing when they go in there. Now we are going to attack the cavalry unit here. Probably inflict upon them as much damage as possible. Cavalry is traditionally more vulnerable to missile fire. We send the Triori forward and stop the Triori like this. And the archers positioned like this. Let them attack if they want to. And the Triori have taken care of them as well. Triori versus the General's Bodyguard. End battle. And we have won with minimal losses, 39 losses. If we had tried to charge at them at the city center, we would have lost more men. Mediolanum is under occupation, and we have received some Triori at our city, at our capital. That is perfect.
Imperator.
Let me regroup. Eretzium. Mediolanum is also part of our empire now. Let's improve paved roads, recruitment, retraining, and let's recruit peasants to administer Mediolanum when we leave. Let's see if we can disembark here.
Going ashore. Can I be of service?
So Massilia is a rebel town. We have a ton of Gallic cities up here. We will be taking care of them soon enough. Should have gotten some map information from the Gauls to be able to move swiftly to wherever I'm headed. But no harm, no foul for now.
Ready to sail.
Let's bring this navy
Aye, aye,
back.
Captain. No more
We can
moves,
have another
sir.
diplomat in a couple of turns. And enter. So, after taking northern Italy, we will be able to attack in two fronts. First, into Germany, what is modern day Germany, technically the Austro-Hungarian and Germanic regions, but in this game we would be referring to them as the Germans, as the game refers to them
Engage the
as.
enemy. Besieging settlement, sir.
I think
Settlement under siege, sir.
that's more than enough.
General.
Yes.
March. Moves depleted, sir. Orders.
Perfect. Let me just retrain this unit as well. Construction, let's construct farming abilities. And trader. So focusing on the economy for now.
Yes, master.
Let me just send my spy forward. So we have intercepted These two Gallic forces, not big forces,
be of service?
sizable but not very
Without
big,
delay.
not big enough to threaten me at least. I will need some troops here though. Let me improve the tax rates to very high to improve the income here.
General,
What is their outreach? They'll need like 2 turns to get to us.
orders,
Let
attack!
me build rams, maintain
Gentlemen,
siege.
under siege, sir!
They have a couple of they do have swordsmen here. Swordsmen at this point in game are technically the Gallic equivalent for our Astarte units. So yes, that is a problem. Sending this smaller unit for retraining. And enter. It's going to take us a bit to occupy Patavium because they do have a sizable garrison in there. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to go rushing in and find myself completely unprepared for whatever awaits. But in the meantime, I do have a contingent to resupply the garrison here in Mediolinium. Let's go for land clearance and we can train some velites. That's perfect. Sending the second general and Hastati units up north to rendezvous with this army laying siege on Patavium.
Sir, prepare for battle!
We have constructed 2 rams. Let's build another one, maintain
Gentlemen,
siege.
under siege, sir!
And this Gallic force here, can we go march and face them? Let them take care of these rebel units here, and then we can worry about them later on. Windex. 1 skirmisher warband, cavalry, nothing we can't take care of.
Your Honor. On my way.
Let's see, Mediolinium is fairly well garrisoned, especially when we bring in these fresh troops here. And
Fleet ready!
I think that's it. Enter. So the House of Julii, historically speaking, was eventually successful in commanding Rome. At least that was the case after Julius Caesar's death, and of course during his life as well. And that is why the senators in Rome decided to kill him. Now, if you read the campaign description before starting the campaign, you will come across a word here, patrician. Now the patricians were, as you may know from even today's time, they were the rich and influential people, the rich and the powerful families in Rome, and these were the families that could put forward their candidates for electoral seats and whatnot. So if you were not a patrician, it didn't really matter how good of an orator you were. The Julii were technically patricians, but their fortune had dwindled over the years, and Julius Caesar sought to, as you may say, reclaim that lost glory.
Awaiting your command.
With his conquests in Gaul and later in Spain, and an attempted attack on Britannia which failed, but then one of his successors named Emperor Claudius successfully managed to conquer Britannia as well. Caesar was able to cement a very solid reputation amongst the Roman commoners, and when he marched on Rome, because his authorities were being taken away from him and he would be tried for a lot of corruption and other crimes that he did commit during his time in Spain and in Gaul, he,
Yes. I shall speak with them at once.
let's see if we can do a ceasefire, trade rights, map information. Was it map information? Okay, no. Let's say map information versus map information. So the Gauls are not ready to listen. I wasn't actually going to respect the ceasefire, even if they did. I just need the map information. That's all. But I'm going to send 2 diplomats up north as well. So let's see. It's just a couple of turns. It's a matter of time before I get what I want. We have garrisoned the city of Mediolanum, fair enough. And in just a couple of turns, we will escape our economic vows. Enter. So as I was saying, that the Julii faction was eventually successful in the Civil War. No management or influence. Command. Okay, we can send him on the field. We have garrisoned Mediolanum to such an extent that the Gauls would not be in their best interest to attack us. And now we take Padavium via assault. The second Gallic city to fall in Italy, and then the Gauls will be restricted to what is modern day France. The Gauls are technically the French, the modern day French, and the Romans will be the Italians. I need to breach. Why don't I send some contingents on the other ends of the the field, like this. We've got these troops here. These troops here. We need them in a line, right? Because we have to punch through these walls and get in. Now, let me arrange them like this. Forward. Now we can punch in our way from multiple directions and surround the enemy with ease. Because I think there is going to be lots of melee combat right now. Start the battle. Let's go. Send our rams forward. Second ram is also out there. The third ram. By doing what we did just done yet, what we're trying to do is to divide the enemy's forces. Now they have to send their troops to all 3 sections of the wall. At least they send them to the 2 sections of the wall where we have placed our rams. We have 2 generals bodyguards here. Okay, they are firing arrows at the ram, but we will soon take the walls. I want to be able to march in from multiple sides and match their forces in battles. Send them to loose formation. In fact, we can go for a testudo formation. Can they do that? Special ability. No, they can't. So let's just loosen them up. The testudo formation. Testudo is Latin for turtles. This was a very common formation for some of the Roman troops. I see that the Astartes can do this, but I'm sure that later in the game we will be able to do something of this sort. Okay, so we're trying to breach through the walls. Here. Let me send these troops forward. The second, pardon about that. What about the third ram? Let me just send the Astarte forward so that as soon as we're done ramming the gates, we can start attacking them.
The enemy gate is down! Our battering ram has done its work!
Excellent. Now we begin our attack.
Show no mercy! The enemy walls are down.
Perfect.
Make sure their soldiers
Tighten
are
up
buried beneath the ruins.
and attack immediately. Perfect. Occupy the city walls. Go and meet them in battle. The general's bodyguard can move in once we've taken the walls. I think we have taken the walls now.
Great gods! Our
Excellent.
soldiers have done well this day. The walls are taken.
So this is one band of one unit of warbands here. We are attacking with 2 units of Astadi, 1 unit of Town Watch. Another band, warband, under attack from our troops. And what about the third one there? Maybe 2 units. There's going to be a lot of bloody butchering before we can get to the city center here. They have, if I'm mistaken, around 500 soldiers in the settlement. So, number-wise, it's a fairly decent amount of troops to defend the city walls. Just right a bit after these troops. Just a bit. Now we make a line here. Yes, excellent. Slowly piling in. The Velite is after them. One of my generals in there, leading the men with fervor and energy. Having your general's bodyguard nearby encourages your troops to fight better and stronger. Now, this one unit of warband sticks in our way, which we will take care of soon enough. Our troops down there. Okay, so we were able to route them. Just form a line. Form a line. We have them surrounded. It's only a matter of time before we can ultimately decimate whatever remains. I will not be hasty in this though, because they do have warbands and cavalry in the center. It would be very foolish for me to just go on charging at them. Let's just shrink their numbers a bit, and then we can attack at them, surround them, and butcher them. Is it at all possible to kill all these units? Yes. Finally routed. You can see when enemy troops are routed, it's not that all of them are dead. They're routing because they see that it's hopeless to fight. There are multiple ways to rout the enemy units, but the best way, the most trusted one, is to surround them on multiple fronts. Let me send my velites forward. Like I said, they're already engaged. I guess charge them. I do not see one of my units already attack them, so it's best for me to move forward and attack them. Let's go and attack them from here as well. Speed up. Our generals are here. It's pretty much good old butchering rather than a battle, just massacring the enemy.
Great gods be praised! The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts!
One of our units has been routed, but that's not a problem. The town watch are routing. 2 town watch are routing. The battle has now become a massacre. At this stage, it isn't anything that works except for killing the enemy. So we did lose a third of our forces. So yes, the losses were indeed great, and this is precisely why I want field battles rather than siege battles, to eliminate this slaughter. spare my men the excesses of a siege battle. Let me just retrain as many as I can, and then we can move forward the next turn. Recruit.
Orders.
Let me see if we can move forward and attack this Gallic force here.
Victory!
They've retreated across the bridge.
Orders.
I think we can reinforce this army
Orders.
from Patavium or Mediolanium
Imperator.
and
Imperator.
ambush this Gallic force.
At your service. Spy.
Massilia is going to be our next target.
Yes. At once.
Lugnanum. Let's go talk to the
Speak at
Germans.
once.
Trade rights, map information, map information. Let's see. Map information. You know what? Let's go with trade rights only then. So the Germans don't want to do anything. Well, kind of makes sense. Because the Germans are rivals, rival claimants to these lands here. Patavium, we have brought down the losses in Armenium and Aratium, Segesta and Mediolanium are fairly profitable. Do we have any trade with the Carthaginians? I guess we do. What does the Senate demand of us? So we will be rewarded for taking Catalyst, but what precisely we have no idea. I think the best course of action here would be to
Imperator. Sir. Imperator.
spare some troops,
General.
not the experienced ones,
General. Orders.
the unexperienced ones.
Sir. Move out.
And we can send this force down south to take Catalyst. I mean, guarded by 2 units shouldn't be that much of a stretch. Our navy has gone all the way. Where exactly? Yes, here it is.
Aye, Captain. Ready
Let me
to
just
sail.
spare
Aye,
half
Captain.
of my fleet here,
Ready to sail.
and this one can go to Greece
Aye, aye, Captain.
sometime before they can, but I'll send them there. So we ought to take Carolus because that gives us a central position here. Then we can also take this island at the city of Palma. We have 2 island bases in case we need to attack either the Gauls or the Spanish, and we can at least take their coastal territory with relative ease. And what else can we do? End turn for now.
General.
Now that we have taken out the Gauls from northern Italy,
Prepare for battle. Out of move, sir.
we can move forward and attack them here. But I only see rebel towns, not Gallic towns. Or we send a
Orders.
series of town watch forward
Onward.
to act as a scout. A scout out the territories we have. How do I pronounce this? Uvavum, I guess. So I have some peasants, we train our garrison, and we will need stables for cavalry. Armenium, let's go for a shrine to Jupiter to improve public morale so that we can tax them better. Let's see if we can train some more troops.
General.
Send these troops to Segesta.
Sir. Orders.
We can send the force stationed inside Mediolanium to east, whereas the other force up north launch two-pronged assaults against both the Germans and the Gauls. But I don't see the Gauls here. So Thrace and Macedon are at war. Macedon is also at war with the Greek states. A naval expedition of Carolus, followed by Palma to islands in the region. What can we leave behind? We do have peasants here. Let's go.
Prepare for battle.
Let
Victory!
me just adjust the policy here. Let's go for growth build policy. No, in fact, military build is okay. It's perfectly fine.
Orders. Prepare for
Now
battle.
attack this Gallic army here. There is a rebel force. Let's try and bribe them into joining us. That way we don't waste any for our own troops.
Triarii! Triarii!
We've got 2 Triarii units.
Triarii!
Perfect.
Triarii!
The second Triarii unit was a gift, and a much needed gift at that. Astari, Town Watch, Triarii in the rear, archers up front, or at least a bit ahead. I think we can move with our column, with our army forward. We'll just give you a close-in of what we are bringing. Triarii and Astari. It's a fairly decent-sized army. I mean, enough for any Gallic field force that I know of in the game to think twice about attacking or trying to take advantage of any vulnerability. Now they have warbands, skirmisher warbands, and cavalry. So what we do is we send our archers forward to take care of the skirmisher warband, take them beyond their range, and we keep both of our Triarii units behind the archer units in case the cavalry attacks, which it inevitably will. The general's bodyguard is going to man the left flank here. Triarii unit here. They don't have the manpower to surround this this contingent here. So the best they can do to stop my arrow fire is to charge at me with their cavalry, but doing so would be suicide. So let me just speed it up a bit. The enemy is not moving. Speed it up even more. Still no movement from the enemy. I think we will be able to throw as many arrows as we want to at them before they decide to do anything, or perhaps even then we will be the ones to attack them. I think they're not able to decide what to do. Warband unit here. Let's take out the cavalry, barbarian light cavalry. Let me just send 3 of my units for. No, they're retreating. The Velites. Let's send them forward. Here, behind the main lines. The archers are. I cannot get any more archers right now. It will be some time before I can get them. So I need to be very careful as to how I use them. Just retreat my archers. Sending the Velites forward. Let me just resume at a normal pace. Hastati, left flank. Hastati, right flank. Triarii, charge. It's pretty much a massacre from now on. go and take out the skirmisher warband. Just see what the Triaria spearmen did to this light cavalry unit. Absolutely destroyed it. Let's see if we can get this unit here. Run to meet the enemy in battle. They're bringing in their warband. Don't want any losses from my general's bodyguard. Retreat unscathed. Single loss. I think we can fast forward a bit here to
The enemy general flees!
perfect.
The enemy army is in flight! Pursue them and drive them from the battlefield!
Let's see if we can get some of them. We will be able to do even more damage to the Gauls when we have a sizable cavalry force in the field as well, which we will soon enough. The Equites are coming very soon enough. So with only minimal losses we were able to destroy most of their army. The Gauls are not going to attack us here anytime soon.
General, prepare for battle. Victory! Move completed, sir.
Now
Sir.
let's
Sir,
we can send this.
onward.
Can we recruit? We cannot recruit any soldiers from here.
General,
Let's see what else. Let's take Carolus then the next turn, and that would be all for this episode. And of course, whatever we can do in between.
Your Honor, searching for clues.
So they've got hoplites and peasants. The hoplites are serious troops. I mean, the hoplites, they can do a lot of damage to your cavalry and your infantry, but they are slow moving, so very vulnerable to any form of arrow fire. End turn. Let's expand our frontier as much as we can.
march.
So 4 units defending this small town up north.
Sir,
Let me send a contingent
orders. Imperator, general,
here,
attack. Moves depleted, sir.
whereas I will wait for another contingent to be led by this other faction leader, Vybius. Let me train more Hastati here. We will have more cavalry from here. Velites from here. This is restricted to 1 Velite. Shrine to Jupiter. Shrine to Jupiter. We do need something to show for all these taxes, right?
Imperator,
Let's see.
fleet
In
ready. Yes, Captain. Imperator.
this 1 unit of Astarte can join Flavius,
Main army. Orders.
while the rest of our forces will land
Yes, Captain.
a naval expedition down south here.
Sir, engage the enemy.
Okay,
Awaiting your command.
let's see what else do we have up north.
Once. No more moves.
I have scouted a bit here, and I can see these settlements are not very fairly guarded, so we can take them out without much resistance in turn. The Gauls would not be a problem unless I give them respite to regroup and attack me.
Your Honor, searching for clues.
So Narbo Martius is guarded fairly well, and this also connects, I mean, the borders, the Gauls, this Gallic territory borders the Spanish, so I will probably be making enemies out of the Spanish if I attack here. Another field battle against this Gallic army, around 300 troops, nothing we can't utterly destroy with what we have in stock.
Unit.
I don't know why they place it like this. I mean, shouldn't the armies shouldn't the main line be should stretch as much as possible to be able to surround the enemy? Archers up front, Triarii and Town Watch in the second line like this. General's bodyguard. So they're positioned there, and they're retreating. I think they're retreating. Or maybe just regrouping. I'm not really sure what to. I'm not sure what to expect, so I will. No, they're regrouping, as far as I can tell. Let's move and meet them in battle. Okay, so they are not retreating, which is good, because I want to do more damage. If they retreat, they can obviously regroup and later on attack us with a bigger force. I don't want that to happen. I want to get rid of them now when I have the numerical advantage and the technological advantage as well. The Triarii, for instance, these are troops that I have access to very earlier on in the game. Let's close the gap even further. By placing their forces at them. Why exactly did it? Okay, let me just. Hastari, form a line immediately. Archers up front immediately. Triarii behind the archers. Velite in front of the archers. You two guard the rear. And now we can attack them with our missile troops. Sending the Velites forward. Attacking the General's bodyguard with our archers troops. You are attacking, right? Okay, attack. Seamless skirmish mode. Just attack. Send down as much as you can. Okay, so we can send 2 of our Hastati units forward. Attack these units here, attack these units here. The Triarii secure the archers. Triarii.
The enemy show
Perfect.
their true virtue. They are not soldiers, only frightened rabbits running from our men.
Okay, so they're gone. We did as much damage as we could. Let's just take out this unit. Okay, no.
This is
So with 75 units lost, we killed around like most of the air force.
Victory!
And now we can take care of this rebel unit here as well.
Prepare for battle.
Automatically resolve. Okay, we did lose. Should have played it myself in the field.
Victory!
We did lose a lot of troops in trying to automatically resolve the battle. I think we ought to pause here and regroup, retrain our troops, especially the Hastati units. One of them at least. Okay. The archers, Roman archers, they have taken a beating. This Hastati unit needs to be retrained.
Splitting the troops. Move out. Moves depleted.
Can we recruit. We can't. We do have this starter unit here. And a unit of Vanitas for Flavius.
Sir! Attack!
Moving in to
Move
attack
depleted, sir.
Iuvium.
Orders?
I think we have the Dacians here, perhaps, based on the color of the border. I know a bit about the game, not very much, a bit. I have played it before, but
General!
this time my goal is to make this video first.
Move out! Orders?
I am securing my frontier. The Senate and the Scipii and Brutii are allies with me,
Ready to sail!
at least for now.
Set sail! Move
Sending a
depleted,
naval
sir.
fleet to Catalyst.
Noble master, without delay.
So we have found another city.
Without delay.
Let's
Out
see
of
if we can
move.
find more Gallic towns here. And let's see if we can send diplomats to other areas as well. This
Ready to
diplomat
sail.
needs to go to
Set sail!
Greece
Move depleted, sir!
and enter. What do the Gauls want? Ceasefire. Yeah, that works, but we will need map information versus map information. Their offer ceasefire, map information. Okay. So I know that the Gaul, I received what I wanted from the Gauls for now. I can take out the rebel settlements bordering the Gallic Empire. I mean, let them
General!
violate this ceasefire,
Orders? Forward!
because I don't want to be the one to do so.
Sir! Forward! Moves depleted, sir!
I want this retinue as
Imperator.
this force as a rear guard.
Moves depleted, sir!
And now we are going to attack Massilia. Following this, we're going to take Lugdunum, 2 more settlements bordering the Cisalpine Gaul region, if I recall correctly. This is what it was referred to in the day. Equites, perfect. Exactly what I needed.
Sir! General!
Sending more units up north.
March!
Why not cross straight? You know what? Stick around a bit. Let me recruit some Mastati and a navy. We've got Equites coming in from here, and Velites coming in from here. So we can launch a cross-strait attack into rebel territory and control both ends of the Adriatic Sea.
Ready to sail! Yes, Captain! This
Carolus
is
is
ready
now
to ambush.
under
Sir,
attack.
prepare for battle! Besieging settlements, sir!
Let me just have 2 of these.
Settlement under siege, sir! Ready to sail!
Now the Carthaginians are going to be angry, but we do need to do as the Senate says to maintain our popularity. Let's see how well we are going faction-wise, faction ratings against the rest of them. So the Scipii are going at pretty much the same pace as us for the time being. The Brutii are a bit down, but we've had these zigzag patterns. So there's that. Let's see how we can improve our economy so that we can train more troops and attack the enemy aggressively using blitzkrieg tactics. Blitzkrieg, a lot of people tend to be misinformed about this. Blitzkrieg tactics were not introduced by the Nazi Germany's armies. These tactics were in use even before.
Besieging settlements, sir!
I guess we can attack. So the Blitzkrieg tactics were in use even before the time of Nazi Germany. The idea is to drive into the enemy's territory and attack them with you know,
The
lightning
gods have
speed.
surely smiled upon us.
No city walls. That is literally suicide. Let's send these troops forward. Peasants. We can take care of these peasants with our general's bodyguard troops. These are starter units can march in. The peasants are literally sword fodder. They can't really do much to anyone. Send these starter units forward. And these forward as well. Literally men marching to their deaths. And as I mentioned, the aforementioned, earlier mentioned Pele, they're killing these peasants even before my has started charging. Mostly infantry-based army, yes. No cavalry. We can throw our missiles at them without any worries. I retreated my general's bodyguard simply because I didn't want any harm done to the unit. The peasants can't do anything to the general's bodyguard, but you know, still, you don't want that. Naked fanatics. These are quite hardy units. I don't want them to retreat them. Retreat.
To fill the heart of the enemy general with fear. Now he flees the field like a coward.
Now the Velites are retreating. And I think we can speed it up a bit. It's all just a massacre right now. Not much to it. We have to cut them down to a man to be able to take a city center. These are war bands that are trying to surround us and we surround them in return. General's bodyguard situated here. Let's lead a charge if we need it.
Great gods be praised! The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts!
Oh, no. Space them here. Charge. Retreat. And stun. So with minor losses, another settlement added to our domains.
Settlement captured.
Occupy the settlement. We'll work on the clear defeat to our fleet in the Mediterranean against the Carthaginians.
Fleet ready.
Send this fleet back to Rome for retraining.
Sir.
So we've got peasants and light militia units defending the city of Catalyst.
Orders. Prepare for battle. Besieging
Massilia
settlement, sir.
is now under siege.
Settlement under siege, sir. Orders. Onward, sir.
Send this one here. Retrain and recruit more ships.
Orders.
Move down south. Here.
Onward.
Reinforced by the Velites.
General.
Equites. Equites are only good for field battles, not for sieges. But they can punch a hole through the enemy's lines, and that's why I need them. Wooden wall, temple of Jupiter, sewers, public health bonus. Let me just go for the economy first. Land clearance. Nothing we can construct here. Nothing we can construct here as well. I think we can make a wooden palisade here. can we attack them?
Engage the
We have
enemy.
this other
Settlement under siege,
siege
sir.
equipment
Aye,
under
Captain.
progress, so let's wait for that. No risks.
At your service. Searching
So we've
for
got
clues.
this warband unit here.
At your service. On my way.
Diplomatic information. We have had a ceasefire with the Gauls for a bit of time now. I think the
Noble
Britons are
master,
up north here.
Without delay, I shall speak with them at once. I shall speak with them at
Okay,
once. Out
so
of moves.
let's get map information from the Britons, and then we can focus on the Germans for now. Take them out before the Gauls.
General,
Either way, we have to do it in any sequence that we see suitable.
out of moves.
Okay, what about our diplomat here?
Yes,
This is a statue of Zeus.
at once.
Sparta.
I shall speak with them at
Let's
once.
go for trade rights. Excellent.
Yes,
Macedonians up north.
I shall speak with them at once. I shall speak with them at once.
Trade rights. Excellent. Trade with the Macedonians as well.
Fleet ready. Aye, aye, Captain. Aye, aye, Captain.
Why don't we
Move
get
completed,
some?
sir.
Yes,
Why don't
I
we
shall
get
speak with them at once.
map information? What's it, map information? Excellent.
Your Honor,
Same
I
here.
shall speak with them at once.
Map information. Map information. So we have explored most of Greece. The Macedonians and the Spartans are busy fighting over most of it. The Greeks do hold islands as well. These are the Pontics, the Pontic faction. Egyptians down south. The map is pretty much the same as in Medieval 2 Total War. I mean, this is the same region, at least. And Crimea up north.
Aye, Captain.
Salona and Segesta are rebel cities in the region. We can at least take one of them, this one at least. And then let's go for the other one. And move inland and expand as much as we
General,
realistically can. Okay, construction. Land clearance and barracks. Let's go for high tax rates and recruit peasants. Here,
sir, attack!
let's maintain the
Settlement
siege
under siege, sir. Sir,
and attack now with our force. I think we can automatically resolve this one. Minor losses, we have taken Massilia,
this land
occupied
is
the
Roman.
settlement, another addition to our borders, repair,
Imperator, attack!
we can attack Caralis as well, automatically resolve this as well.
Victory!
Caralis is
This
also
land
under
is
our control
Roman.
now. Repair these, recruit peasants, and soon we can
Aye, Captain.
move towards the other island holdings of the Carthaginians. But I think that's for another day. This was the first episode of Rome Total War Julii long campaign. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. If you have any suggestions or anything you want me to change about the way I do these commentary videos, I don't do a lot of these commentary videos. You'll see that most of my videos are non-commentary, so I'm open to any form of criticism and whatnot. But thank you so much for watching anyways, and this is Gaming Dragon 360. Until next time.